This episode of SITREP is presented by EA. Over the past few days, I've been covering Battlefield 5 topics in depth, taking a closer look at each aspect of the game and how it will change the franchise forever. This is the last of said videos, and here we are going to take a dive into the weapons and movement changes in Battlefield 5. My name is Shadox, and this is SITREP. With Battlefield 5 going back to World War II, we can expect all sorts of interesting weapons and vehicles. Countries were locked into an arms race to develop the newest and most deadly technologies, and due to this, we will be able to utilize a wide array of different firearms, tanks, and aircraft. From the trailer, concept art, and some of the behind-the-scenes footage I was able to see, we know that we will be receiving weapons for every playstyle and situations, from the 1928 Thompson, STG-44, Kar 98, MG-42, and the M1 Garand. Other guns were confirmed to be in-game via screenshots or the trailer, but Flakfire recently uploaded a video covering an exhaustive list of every weapon confirmed so far, so if that interests you, a link to his video will be down in the description below. You will be able to customize your weapon to suit your playstyle within Battlefield 5. Each weapon will have approximately 5 to 7 points of customization for skins and attachments. DICE is moving away from the controversial weapon variant system seen in Battlefield 1 and returning to a similar system from previous titles. Each one of these attachments will have some intrinsic performance change associated with it. How each attachment will interact with each other remains to be seen, and DICE is also ensuring that the cancelling out of effects seen by some of the attachment combinations in Battlefield 4 would be addressed. One of the biggest changes to weapon mechanics in Battlefield 5 is a removal of random bullet deviation and spread mechanics. During the presentation, we were given a nice little moniker of "where you aim is where you shoot." In Battlefield 1 and previous titles, your bullets would actually land somewhere within that weapon's cone of fire. The faster you fired, the wider this cone became, and this made placing accurate shots on target difficult to master. It was this system that led to the micro-bursting meta of Battlefield 4, and this is because you were able to fire 2 to 3 shots and give it enough time to reset to allow your cone of fire to become small enough to accurately judge where your shots would land within a few centimeters. One of the biggest issues with this system is the fact that your bullet's trajectory can no longer be accurately gauged by your sight's reticle. In real-life shooting, the only time your bullets do not match the sight is when you have improper sight picture or sight alignment. Since we as gamers cannot control the eye relief or shooting technique, we assume these things to be constant, and it should be that way. This system of not knowing exactly where your bullets will fire can lead to poor habits when controlling weapons. I even find myself exhibiting some of these bad tendencies by ignoring weapon control in favor of just firing more bullets, because eventually, my cone of fire will put enough bullets into my target. This system is fine for players who just aim center mass, as typically the enemy will be killed before the cone of fire can expand beyond outside their body. But this system actively punishes players that are skilled enough to go for those headshots. Since the head is a much smaller target, without allowing your weapon's spread to reset to first shot values, your cone of fire can exceed the size of the target's head by the second or third shot depending on the distance. The player actively going for those headshots can have their crosshairs directly centered on the enemy's head, but at no fault of their own, their shot could very well miss. So this brings us full circle to the changes in Battlefield 5. With the removal of random bullet deviation and the spread mechanics, your bullets will travel exactly where your sights are pointed. Along with this, every weapon in Battlefield 5 will have a defined recoil pattern that can be learned. A skilled player will be able to memorize these patterns and adjust his playstyle to perform kills more quickly and efficiently. As an example, let's say that the STG-44 has a damage that requires 4 bullets to kill, but only 3 if you make one of those a headshot. A skilled player will then be able to learn the recoil management and know where to place his first shot to ensure that shot number 3 is a headshot. This system allows for a higher skill ceiling by allowing players to learn how best to handle, modify, and use their weapons to become a better player. Whether or not this change will bring back some of the Battlefield veterans and competitive players that had left because of Battlefield 1's mechanics, that's really yet to be seen. Regardless, these changes are a step in the right direction if DICE and EA want Battlefield 5 to have a competitive environment. Along with the gunplay, the most important skill in a firefight is movement and positioning. Battlefield 5 extends on the previous titles by greatly expanding how you move and orient yourself in a fight. A prime example of some of the new movements available can actually be seen in the trailer, where the female recon throws herself on her back and shoots while backpedaling. This isn't some pre-rendered animation, this is a new option available to us. You will be able to aim 360 degrees while prone without changing your body's direction. In previous titles, if you were laying in the prone and turned, your entire body would turn as well, and this led to all sorts of issues with clipping, getting stuck, or even getting pushed away from walls and cover. The entire movement system has gotten an overhaul to include these new shooting positions. You can now slide into prone, sprint while crouching, and even backpedal like we mentioned earlier. The movement system as a whole is now based on a player's momentum. So if you slide into the prone, you will come to a stop and you will need to get up and start running again before you can build up enough momentum to slide again. A perk to this system is that it removes a player's ability to spam some of these actions, like dolphin diving seen in other shooters. All of these new movements open up new ways for us to approach different scenarios and think tactically. For instance, let's say that you and your squad are moving up a street and on your left is an alleyway. Instead of stepping out front of whoever might have their line of sight down the alley, you decide to slide into your side and peek the corner. This minimizes your cross-section visible to an enemy and gives you an element of surprise by shooting from the ground instead of from the standing. These changes will give you new tactics to work with, and really changes up the dynamic of firefights to make each situation unique. Along with the changes mentioned, your player movement and momentum can now interact with the environment in different ways. A key example of this is when the soldier carrying the Bren light machine gun sprints towards the window and jumps through. This is an option available to you now. You're not going to be forced to walk up to the window, pull out your melee weapon, whack it a few times until it breaks, and then you can finally jump. Now it's all going to be one seamless motion. All in all, Battlefield 5 is shaping up to be a great shooter if all of these changes work out. These changes raise the amount of skill needed to be a good player and allows for players to learn and react dynamically with each match. I'm super pumped with just how ambitious this game is turning out to be, and I really hope that DICE will blow our expectations out of the water. That covers my last deep dive into the Battlefield 5 reveal. If you missed any of the other deep dives, check out the links in the description or head over to my channel for the other 5 videos. We are less than 2 weeks away from getting hands-on with the multiplayer at EA Play, so consider subscribing to get a first look at the multiplayer as soon as it is available. Thank you all for watching. My name is Shadox Films, and I hope to see you on the battlefield.